want some payback for his friend.
He ain't the only one.
Oh, you wasn't down with that kind of shit no more.
I'll make an exception for fame. Give me something. I can't take out stuff for them. I'm back. I want to look like I never left.
Now we finally got the answers in terms of what happened to Sean, famous Figueroa. He was always gonna die. The theory I kept hearing on social media and also reading on many of my posts was how he was in prison with Kanan. Just never made sense. The logical outcome was that he would eventually bite a bullet, because up until this point, the only person that Kanan has really lost is D-Wiz and Detective Howard. The latter of the two he didn't have much of a relationship with anyway. But taking Famous away, he'd feel the pain that Jukeboxers felt. It would hurt Kanan, but also harden him up at the same time. I mean, the clue was always in Famous's name, Sean. We've been saying it since season 1. Kanan would have named his son after his best friend. But now he's going to turn all that pain and hurt into anger. He's going to be on a mission to find out exactly who killed his best friend, which I think was always the question. I think it was the worst kept secret that Famous was going to die. The real question and mystery was, who killed Famous? They definitely will answer it at some point. It definitely won't be an off-screen death. I'm sure they will circle back round to it in a flashback. He's also going to have Duke by his side as they look for answers in 406. They're going to put a bit of fear into the streets, at least at surface level. We've got Lou who also wants justice for Famous, along with Rock making her move with Hafiz. We've also got Unique coming out of the shadows for the first time in season 4. But we're going to run through it all, including a few scenes that we've seen across the trailers and teasers that do match up to episode 6, breaking the trailer down piece by piece. But let's start with the episode title and synopsis. Now the title of episode 6 is The Price of Fame. I guess this week there's no explanation needed, but the synopsis reads, Rock tries to overcome Marvin's poor judgment. Kanan recruits Jukebox to help him find justice for his friend. Unique assembles a final piece of his plan. Now there's only one place to start, pouring a drink out for Sean Famous Figueroa.
What's him out for Famous?
Ironically, it's actually Marvin who's the one who's saying pour one out for Fame, which is cold. Because you guys know where I stand, I do think it is Marvin. It definitely is going to be the hot topic of the week, and maybe even the coming weeks. I will be running through it in a lot more detail as to why, and various different scenarios that we could definitely see play out in a potential flashback. But in episode 6, we've got Kanan at Cafe Vu, probably looking at the stage Famous used to love being on. I wouldn't be surprised if we even saw a flashback or two with Fame on the mic. But you can definitely tell this death is really going to hurt Kanan. It's really going to hit him hard, way more than D-Wiz. D-Wiz's death definitely hurt, but Famous was Kanan's real best friend, his only best friend.
He's gonna want some payback for his friend.
He ain't the only one.
Oh, you wasn't down with that kind of shit no more.
I'll make an exception for fame.
Now we've also got the Thomas family sitting at Cafe Vu, where the hot topic will be Famous. We've got Rock in conversation with Lou, saying Kanan is going to want payback for his friend, with Lou's response being he isn't the only one. Now I do think Lou definitely had a feeling something bad did happen to Famous for quite some time. You could just tell from his demeanor, his conversation with various different people from Marvin, B-Rilla, Imani Okoye, and also Kanan. The one with B-Rilla and also Kanan was probably the most telling out of them all. But we've all been wondering, what could bring Lou back into the street game? Could it be a mistake from Marvin where he has to leave, where he has to lay low for a while, where we then see Rock asking Lou for help? Or where he feels as if he owes Rock, where he thinks, I'm gonna help my sister fight this war with Unique. Well, it's actually the Famous situation that's gonna bring him back in, at least in the short term. He says he's making an exception, because Famous was someone who Lou really had a close relationship with, which dates back to season 1. He's making an exception for Fame. But on Lou getting back in, I do think it's only scratching the surface. I do think he's gonna be back in for real when shit really starts to hit the fan, when Unique pops back up. That's when I think Rock will really need him. Especially because Marvin's making all these mistakes, the latest one being killing Terry in 405. I also think Marvin being the one behind Famous's death just makes things so much more worse for the Thomases, especially if he did it behind Rock's back. It causes all sorts of problems. But I do think we are going to have to be patient for it to play out. We know raising Kanan play the long game, which is something I do appreciate. We've probably got a lot of people thinking, how can we have an off-screen death? The thing is, just be patient. The story will definitely be told when it needs to be told. That's something everyone should realize when it comes to Sasha Penn and the team that he's assembled with raising Kanan.
You want to make some real loot? Give me some information. Give me something.
Now, we've got Kanan asking OC to get him some information, and he needs information on two things. He needs info on who robbed them at the end of 404, and he also needs to know who killed Famous. What are the streets saying at this moment in time? Maybe he thinks it's the same person. The problem with this is, OC isn't just working for Kanan anymore, he's also working for Unique. So at some point in episode 406, I do expect this information to find its way back to Unique, and who knows what his plan is, but we are going to come back around to Unique in just a moment. We've also got Jukebox telling Kanan, let's do this, and this is where we're going to see Kanan and Juke on a real mission, trying to get down to the bottom of exactly what happened to Famous. In episode 405, they made Famous's moms a promise, if anything happened to Famous, they were going to make whoever did it pay. So we are going to see Kanan with a gun in hand, him at the basketball courts, with Juke also holding a few at gunpoint. So these are a few scenes from the season trailer, which definitely match up to what we are going to see in episode 6. In terms of who they could be holding at gunpoint, I wouldn't be surprised if the first people that they set their sights on are Freddy's people from season 2. We know Famous killed Freddy back in 2009. He was also apparently talking to law enforcement and telling them what they needed to know, and as we also know, the streets do talk. So maybe the first people they're going to think of is Freddy's crew, which I don't personally believe they are behind Famous's death. But Jukebox and Kanan, they're going to be on a real mission in episode 406, and possibly even beyond. Who's to say they even get to the bottom of this mystery in 406? I think it's one which will slowly play out over the next 2 or 3 episodes, maybe more. So let's see what happens in 406, let's see what they learn. Now in terms of Kanan's operation, in 405, we did learn that Kanan was skimming off the top, which is why I've been mentioning Rock cannot trust Kanan. He's continuing to do so by building his stash in his storage unit, and soon enough, he may even have enough to potentially approach a connect for himself. He's building a lot of capital on the side, and we know in this game, money equals power. So let's see what Kanan's next move is when it comes to his operation side of things, because as much as Famous's death will definitely hurt, as much as he's going to want to find answers for his best friend, it's not going to stop his business. Time doesn't stop for anyone, and we've all heard the saying, time is money. Now let's move on to all things Marvin and the Thomas organization. We've got Marvin grabbing David again, and when will Marvin learn? We know Rock is already going to struggle to overcome Marvin's poor judgment in terms of killing Terry in 405. The last thing she needs is for him to make yet another mistake. These were the guys who were running the transportation side of things for Rock. So I just hope for Marvin's sake, he doesn't make yet another mistake, especially because we still haven't seen the fallout from bringing Ellie Tyler on board to the whole Corona operation under Stefano. That's also another one to keep in mind for 406, especially because Rock is busy trying to make deals with the Afghans and the Italians. All these mistakes that Marvin is making is definitely going to add up. Now we've also got Rock in a meeting with both Hafiz and Stefano, and the reason as to why we're going to see this meeting is because Rock wants to be supplied by Hafiz, the Afghans. However, the territory in Queens is already spoken for, because that's run by Stefano, who had Quan underneath him. So, Hafiz needs to make sure all the other partners are willing to play ball before he begins to supply Rock, because he's trying to avoid a larger conflict. As he said in 405, the bloodiest wars were fought over territory, which I do think is a foreshadow of what's to come in the second half. We are going to see a huge war. It may not be the bloodiest, but it's definitely going to be interesting in terms of the chess moves that various players are beginning to make. Rock's making this move with Hafiz and Stefano, Unique's making his alliance with Phil Russo and also Quan. Kanan's also skimming off the top. Everybody's playing and kind of doing their own thing, so it definitely is a big chess game, and Unique really is positioning himself pretty well. With that being said, let's move on to all things Unique, and also his new alliance with Phil Russo.
I can't take out Stefano, but if we could just soften him up enough, his own people will do it for me.
Let's do this.
I'm back. I look like I never left.
Now, we've got Unique in conversation with Phil Russo. Towards the end of 405, we saw him coming to visit Phil Russo out in New Jersey, because he definitely has a bone to pick with both Rock and Stefano Marchetti. We hear him saying in the trailer for episode 6, he can't take out Stefano, but if he softens them up for him, then his own people will do it for him. This is the thing with the Italians, they already have an existing arrangement, they have a code, and they also have rules that are being set by the Italian crime families, but they're always looking to find loopholes to stab each other in the back. Rock warned us about this back in 302. In fact, we can even go deeper and look at the history in terms of the Italian crime families back in New York, which is something we've done before. These guys will happily use other people to do their dirty work, and that's where Unique will most likely come in for Phil Russo.
You can't be dropping bodies. Keep your pistols in your pockets. I want to look like I never left.
So just to add some more depth to this particular scene, we'll also hear Phil Russo warning Unique that he's dropping way too many bodies in the streets. We have seen this meeting before in a previous teaser, and it does look like we will see Unique coming back in a much stronger position in 406. He's got a crew standing behind him, and that's going to make Phil Russo think, okay, you've kind of proved you're able to build an organization. You've got people behind you. Let's give it a go. Let's see if we can actually bring down Rock and Stefano.
I'm back. I want to look like I never left.
So Unique is finally back, trying to look like he never left. He's lost his all-black attire, the hood is finally going to come off, and he's finally going to come out of the shadows. Hopefully he also makes it known to Panessa as well in 406. She's been thinking he's been dead for around 6 months, and she also actually thinks Rock is the one who killed him, which is something he still thinks. But with Unique now back, with him most likely putting his jewelry back on, back to his old flashy ways, it's only a matter of time before Rock finds out. But when she does, will it be too late? Will Unique already have this chess game in motion? This is why I've been saying for the past few weeks, I really do see Unique as a major winner come the end of season 4. Unique and Phil Russo are going to be standing tall, although I don't know whether he can trust Phil Russo. We've been through how the Italians can easily betray you, but I can definitely see him standing victorious in this battle in season 4. It's just a question of, what moves will he put in place in 406? But that's a breakdown of the trailer for all things season 4, episode 6. It's going to be an episode where Kanan and Duke are going to be looking for answers. Whether they get them in episode 6, I personally don't think they will. I do think we will get the answers eventually, and we'll probably see it in a flashback to tell us exactly how it happened, who killed Famous, and then the fallout will begin. In terms of Unique, he's definitely back in 406. He's going to be back to some kind of normality, and he's going to be in a much stronger position than the one he started with in season 4. So let's see how it all begins to unfold, because the second half of season 4 really will be explosive. But drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section, and as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.